Hello, moms. Welcome to Bridge Tribe, where we dive into the real conversations that matter. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of us as women can relate to: motherhood and identity. You know you're somebody's mom, but do you even remember who you were before the diapers, the laundry piles, the midnight feeds? Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and wonder, where did she go? Do you ever feel like you've lost yourself in the process of becoming a mom? Or are you so focused on taking care of the kids that you forget who you are outside of that role? You are not alone. In fact, many mothers struggle with the question, who am I beyond just being a mother? This episode is for that woman, the woman buried beneath the title, the tax of motherhood. Today, we're not just talking about motherhood, we're talking about you. Yes, you watching this video.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
Hi, my name is Bridget and welcome to Bridge Tribe. On this channel, we talk about motherhood, we talk about intentional parenting, we talk about finances and building wealth. We talk about lifestyle and fitness. So if you're new, please, I want you to click on the subscribe button, like this video, share this video, and drop a comment, okay? I remember the first time I introduced myself and I almost said, "Hi, I'm Shemaya's mom," before my actual name. Right. It's like the moment you become a mother, people forget you had a life before children. And honestly, sometimes so do we, Don't get me wrong, motherhood is a beautiful thing and I love being a mother. But it's not the only thing. And when you give and give and give, eventually you start to wonder who's left underneath all of the layers. So in this video, we're pulling back the curtain on some things that are rarely talked about. The identity crisis that often comes with motherhood. This isn't a pity party. In fact, consider this as a permission to sleep and to rediscover yourself, to find joy again, and to reconnect to that woman underneath the title of a mom. So whether you're a new mom, a seasoned one, or somewhere in between, I want you to grab a drink, take a deep breath, and let's talk woman to woman, okay? I must warn you though that this will be deep. It may feel a little raw, but I promise you that it's gonna be a healing session. It will be your unpaid therapy. The aim isn't about choosing yourself instead of your kids. Rather, it's about choosing to not disappear, all for your kids. So let's dive in. I'll begin with the question, what does it mean for you to be a mom? Is it just a title, or is it a defining characteristics of who you are? For many of us, being a mom is a life-changing experience that shifts our priorities and our sense of purpose. And in the midst of all that change, it's easy to lose sight of who we are as individuals. We start to define ourselves solely by our role as moms and forget about the things that made us in the first place. There's a loss of identity. I think a lot of us can relate to this feeling of losing ourselves in motherhood. We go from being independent, confident individuals to being a sleep-deprived, overwhelmed mom who are just trying to keep it all together. And in that process, we can lose touch with the things that brought us joy, the things that made us feel like ourselves. We start to feel like we're just going through the motions, like we're just trying to survive rather than thrive. And it's not your fault. It sneaks up on you. The identity loss isn't sudden. It's not like you wake up one morning and you forget who you are. Now, it happens slowly. It begins with putting your coffee down and forgetting to return to it. It continues with you deferring your shower until the baby sleeps, then falling asleep with your clothes on, your makeup on. Then one day someone asks you, what do you do for fun? And your mind goes blank. This isn't about neglect, it's devotion. But devotion without self-preservation is slow disappearance. So let me tell you, this invisible shift happens to so many moms. It's not a personal failure. It's just that no one handed us a map back to ourselves. And I'm not talking about being nostalgic, right? No. However, amidst it all, bear in mind that you're not just raising children. You're living a life that will be remembered. So this is about legacy. Number 2, let's talk about how motherhood hijacks your identity. Let's be honest, motherhood doesn't ask, it takes a whole lot from you. It takes your body, it takes your sleep, it takes your free time, it takes away your beauty, it takes away your sanity. Even your name, suddenly you're Tori's mom, Shola's mom, Ben's mom, And for a while, that might feel so sweet, right? But over time, it can also feel very hollow. This can be because there's an emotional weight in constantly serving and rarely being seen, right? Your dreams are paused, your hobbies are forgotten, your friendships are replaced by quick chats in school car line and often interrupted by, brief phone calls. And then you start to second guess your self-worth outside of being needed, right? So here are the signs that you have lost touch with yourself. Number 1 is you don't know your hobbies anymore. Not because you gave up on them, but you've suddenly gone blank, right? You're trying to exist in your schedule, so there's absolutely no time. You also, number 2, you refer to yourself as we, even when you're just the only person in the room. Has that ever happened to you? You've not done something spontaneous in the longest time. You avoid mirrors because you don't want to look at yourself. You don't take pictures because they remind you of someone you're no longer connected with, right? And then you feel resentment and then guilt for even feeling resentment. And then you're too exhausted to care about yourself. And when you do, you feel guilty or you feel selfish. Does any of this sound familiar with you, right? Does it sound familiar? Does it look like something that you're going through? I want to tell you that you're not broken. You're just buried in motherhood. But that's okay, because buried things can grow again with light and with care. I'm talking about the light of reaching into yourself and asking yourself, who was I before all of this? What did I dream about before kids came along? What made me feel alive? What made me feel happy? What values used to shape my decision? How did my body look before it? Again, yes, it's all coming back to you now. That woman, remember her? I promise you that she's still there somewhere and you're going to get her back, okay? There's a question that's always bugged me, and it is, why do moms struggle to claim space? What do I mean by that? I mean that you think to yourself, if I rest, I'm being lazy. If I spend on myself, I'm being selfish. If I say I need space, I'm not being grateful enough for the blessings that God has given me. The myth of the good mom tells us that exhaustion is noble and that a drained woman is a devoted one. Remember, there is no award for who suffers the most, right? But that myth, it's a lie, because burnout doesn't make you more loving. It just makes you more brittle. And then, your temper, And then there's a second culprit called silence. When support is lacking, the world expects you to be everything to everyone all at the same time. So you start shrinking your need just to fill in the gaps, right? And make accommodation for everybody until you completely disappear. But here's a question for you. Have you ever stopped doing something you love, not because you didn't love it, but because it didn't seem to fit into your motherhood schedule? That's the cost you're paying. And you allowed yourself to take some of it back, and you will, right? And you are allowed to take some of it back, and you will. As you should. Now that you're shining the light of self-reflection on yourself, you're beginning to see the cracks, the cracks, right? Okay. Now that you're shining the light of self-reflection on yourself, you're beginning to see the cracks, right? The broken parts, but that's okay. Remember that self-realization is what precedes self-actualization. So you need to know where and how you've gone off track, how far off you are from you, so that you can find yourself back to you. So dear mom, you're not broken. You're simply becoming. This isn't about losing yourself. It's about reshaping yourself. Just like a seed breaks to bloom, that's the parts of you that need to break open to grow. The quiet you feel isn't emptiness. It's a space to remember who you are becoming. Your dreams are still valid. You're still widely creative. The world still needs to know your voice, and your kids need to see you use it. And if you're waiting for permission, I'm going to give you that. You, dear mom, you are allowed to be more than just a mom. Next, we're going to talk about rediscovering yourself. Now, the good news is it's not too late to rediscover yourself. It's never too late to start exploring who you are beyond just being a mom, whether it's picking up a hobby you used to love, or trying something new, or simply taking time for yourself. There's so many ways to start reconnecting with your own identity. And I'm not just talking about self-care, although that's very important as well. I'm talking about really taking the time to explore your own interests, your own passion, and your own values, right? So, do you know where to find it again, right? Not the perfect version. I mean the real one, the woman who existed before motherhood and the one who's emerging now. If you don't know where or how to start to rediscover yourself, here are some things that you can do. Number one is that you can reconnect with your forgotten passion. Remember what it is that you used to do before that made you happy. Reading, dancing, get intentional about just doing one small thing weekly just for you. Rebuild your identity through daily 10 minutes small habits. Not everything needs a grand reawakening. Start small, dressing up just because, saying no without guilt, just taking a walk while it's still, while you can. Journal, walk, breathe, read something, do something that fills you and not drain you. These micro habits help to fetch you back into you. And then we introduce yourselves to the mirror, not to criticize yourself, right? But to see and to take a good look at yourself. That woman staring back, she's been waiting to be noticed again. Admire yourself in the mirror, and you start to notice areas where you love on you better and areas that you now need to work on. Ask yourself better questions. Instead of, what do I need to do today? Try, what do I need to do to feel like myself, to feel human, right? Create a meal list. Write down little things that bring you joy, clean sheets, your favorite song, something that just makes you happy. Revisit that list as often as possible. And then talk to someone who remembers you before a mom and let them remind you of who you are. Now, finally, take one day, a month for yourself. Call it your soul Sabbath day. Protect it like it's sacred, right? Because it is. And think about this. What can you do today to start rediscovering yourself? Take a minute to reflect on what you loved doing before you became a mom. Was it reading? Was it dancing? Was it going out on trips? Just take a few minutes to think about what is that thing that brought you personal immense joy, and see if you can find a way to incorporate that into your life of today. And if you're feeling stuck, reach out to a friend or your loved one for support. You know what works best for you. These things are not selfish things. They are self-full things. And they're so necessary ways, and that's very necessary. So find easy and simple ways to implement them. Indulge yourself. You deserve it. Now, here are things to do when embracing your new identity. After rediscovering yourself, now here are the things that you can do, when embracing your new identity. When embracing your new identity, after you rediscover yourself, go on to embrace it, because this is where the magic happens. When we start to rediscover ourselves, we start to see that our identity as mom is just one part of who we are. We start to see that we are more than just our roles as caregivers, that we are complex, multifaceted, individuals with our own unique experience and perspective. So when we embrace this new identity, we start to feel more confident, more empowered, and more like ourselves, right? This is a self-actualization. This is self-actualization. Now, redefine mother without losing being a woman. Let this part land with tenderness, right? But firmness. You are first a woman and then a mother. Your children need you alive, not just available. They need you to thrive, not just to survive. So when they see you value your joy, your rest, your creativity, your mental health, they learn how to value themselves as well, because you are a reflection of them. So this isn't just about healing for you. This is a generational healing. This is why I said earlier that this is about legacy. So be mindful of it, be intentional about it, right? So my final thoughts on this is that what the takeaway here, I think the main thing is that it's okay to feel lost, and it's okay to take time to rediscover yourself. Motherhood is a journey that can be both beautiful and challenging, but by embracing our own identities and by taking the time to explore our own interests and passion, we can start to feel more like ourselves, even in the midst of all of the chaos. So to every mom watching who feels unseen, I want you to hear me. You matter. Your name, your voice, your dreams, they are not gone. You're still in there under the list, the cures, and all the lullabies and the running around of motherhood. You have been so busy giving life to others. Now it's time for you to breathe a little life back into yourself. So no, you don't need to disappear to be a great mother. You just need to remember that your life is not a sacrifice, but a beautiful love story. Motherhood is a part of your story, but it's not the whole book, right? And it deserves a name beyond just being a mom. So give yourself permission not to escape, but to return to you, and you need to start all over. That's okay too. Just be kind to yourself and to your journey. Give yourself grace. Give yourself pace, right? So the recap, right? Motherhood is beautiful, but you but can blur your sense of self-worth, right? It's okay to feel lost in motherhood. You are allowed to grieve who you used to be. Now, we talked about identity loss, which is common, but it doesn't have to be permanent. It's never too late to rediscover yourself. Small intentional acts of, self-return help build your identity and leads you to big emotional healing, right? So self-care is important, but a lot of time that alone is not enough. So take the time to explore your own identities and interests. Embracing your new identity as a mom can help you feel more confident and empowered. And then finally, you're more than a title. You are a whole person and you matter always. If this video spoke to you, don't just nod and move on. I want you to share this with a mom who also needs to hear this. Start your me list today. Take your 10 minutes. Also, I would love to hear from you. I want you to comment below one thing that you miss about who you are or who you were before kids, and one thing that you're learning to love about who you're becoming. Let's remind each other that we're not alone and we're allowed to live fully even while we love deeply, right? Lastly, don't forget to share and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more liberating and empowered videos just like this. Till our next video, don't forget to be intentional in parenting and living a healthy lifestyle and building wealth. Thank you and bye.
Come and fly